Hey folks, Dr. G here with a real quick lesson on how to get VMD working through the terminal on a Mac. So it used to be when you installed VMD, you could just type VMD in the terminal and it would start. And mine does, right? Because I've set it up a certain way. And I'll show you how I did that, right? So when I started it up, VMD did start. It just takes a little second. There it goes. So VMD is open using the terminal to do so. And then if I go back to the terminal, type exit. There we go, now closed. So how did I set my computer up so that it can do that? Well, what you need to do is you need to adjust, you have to add an alias VMD. And and you have to put the alias into the ZSH profile, or I'll show you. So if I go VI, I'll use the VI editor to open it up, and I go ~/.ZSHRC. I enter that. Now here's a script that runs. So when I open a terminal, this script runs. And so, it creates a conda environment, and also it creates this alias. So I added this. So notice it says alias, and then it says VMD equals, and then the quote, notice the quotes. And then we have a path to get to the VMD executable. So how did I know that this was the alias that I had to create, right? Because alias VMD equals, that's pretty general sort of command here for creating an alias, but this path, how did I know that that was the path? Well, let me show you how to get that, because it could be different on your computer depending on what version you installed, etc. It could be totally different. So let me show you how I got this for mine. So if I get out of here, I'm gonna quit, exclamation point to not save. So I didn't change anything, but always good to do that, I feel. So let's see. So how did I get that? Well, if I go to CD, change directory to applications, and then I type VM and I hit tab. So there we go. It finishes typing it for me. And notice that there's that backslash, and then a space, right? Because there's a space in the name, which, I always tell my students, don't name things with spaces. But sometimes people name things with spaces, and that's how you accommodate that. But although this is .app, that's actually a directory. So if you hit tab again, the only other directory it could be is content. So that one will pop up. And if I hit tab again, it'll suggest multiple places it could be. So I went with VMD, so type VM, then hit tab again, and then hit tab one more time. And now we've got a bunch of choices here. And then VMD _ Mac OS X ARM64. That seemed to be the one, I just it wasn't much of a guess. It's pretty obvious, I think, if you compare it to everything else, that has to be the one. So then if you go VMD, tab, whoops, _, there it is. Whoop, there it is. So if we do that, that's an executable. So I can't actually change directory to that. But let me go to the beginning here. So if I go Control A, that brings me back to the beginning of the terminal here. And now if I just hit enter for this, notice that opens it too. So like what you could do, I don't, and so yeah, so VMD opened, right, on my other screen. Takes it, there it is. So there's VMD. VMD is open. So that command also opens VMD. So let me close that again. So this command right here, right, obviously you don't want to type that every time you open up VMD. So that's the whole purpose of an alias. So that's why I created that alias. So instead of typing that, I can now just type VMD, right, and then hit enter. Another thing to keep in mind, after you modify your ZHS script, you have to tell it to run. So next time you restart your computer, you start a new terminal, that thing will run automatically and it'll work. But a very common mistake I see with students is they'll modify their ZHS profile like that, right? They'll go in here to their ZSHRC. They'll go in there, they'll make the changes, and then they'll try to run VMD alias, and it won't work right away, right? Because this script, although you've modified it, it hasn't been run yet. So the way to force it to run is you just type source, and then the ZSHRC. If you do that, that forces it to run, and then that would make the VMD command start working for you right away. All right, so that is it. Good luck. I hope it works for you.